Yes, a very beautiful morning out there. And welcome to another insightful edition of In the Papers on iPower 102.7 FM, the pride of the people. My name is Florence E. Barama, and it's a pleasure having you join us as we bring you carefully selected roundup of the major headlines making front pages of today's newspaper. From politics to governance to business, security, the economy, health, sport, and other issues shaping our nation. We will sniff through the headlines and highlight the stories that matters most to us. The goal of the program is to keep you informed, enlightened, and ready for the conversations driving today. Kindly settle in, stay with us, and let us take another major look at what the paper is saying this Thursday morning. We have headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, headlines from the Hope newspaper, headlines from the Daily Post, the Guardian, the Sun newspaper, and the Nation's newspaper this Thursday morning. Yes, the program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM and beginning from the Hope newspaper this morning where we have Ondo releases 2026 common entrance results. Still on the Hope newspaper this morning where we have the headline Nigerians population hit 242.4 million, remains Africa's largest. ICPC uncovers 908 ghost workers, recovers 942 million naira. And still on the Hope newspaper this morning where we have federal government reduces textbook assessment and ranking fees. Away from the Hope and now to the Punch newspaper where we have a NGF and others unveils health security scorecard. Still on the Hope newspaper, still on the Punch newspaper this morning, talking 2027. PDP cannot rescue Ogun. Deputy Governor candidate says. Still talking Osun 2026 from the Punch newspaper this morning where we have Oyebamiji warns against voters' harassment. Still on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning where we have Navy hands over rescued human trafficking victims to NAPTI. Still on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning where we have Tinubu committed to ending insecurity, and that was coming from Akpabio. Still on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning where we have ignore fake recruitment updates, custom tells Nigerians. Away from the Punch and now to the Daily Post newspaper, where we have a Boko Haram has mega sponsorship from within and outside Nigeria, ex-army chief says. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. And of course, the program is centered around reviewing and previewing newspaper headlines making rounds in today's newspaper. And of course, we have this one coming to you from the Hope newspaper this morning. And it says, Ondo releases 2026 Common Entrance Examination result. Now, the details. The Ondo State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology has today released the results for the 2026 Common Entrance Examination conducted on July 4, 2026. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Akindele Igi, noted that the results have been successfully uploaded on the ministry's portal. He urged parents and guardians to check the results of their children and wards by logging in with their registration PIN on the official website www.odsgexam.com odsgeodsexams.com, providing an analysis of the performance. The director of examination management for the ministry, Mrs. Titilayo Udo, explained that a total of 67,547 pupils sat for the examinations across all 18 local government areas of the state, and 56% scored above 50%, while 44% scored below 50%. She revealed that the highest scorer in the examination achieved an outstanding 294 out of 300 points, representing 98% in the overall examination. For more details on that headline, see the Hope newspaper with this headline. Ondo releases 2026 Common Entrance results. Still on the pages of the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have ICPC uncovers 908 ghost workers, recovers 942 million naira. Now the details. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has uncovered 908 ghost workers across several federal ministries, departments, and agencies are recovering about 942 million allegedly paid through a fraudulent payroll scheme. ICPC Chairman Musa Aliyu disclosed that this recovery followed an investigation launched in 2024 after the Commission detected irregularities in the pension payment. According to him, the probe will expose a widespread payroll manipulation with fictitious names allegedly inserted into government salary system and, and public fund. Aliyu alleged that some senior public officials that enrolled their relative and associates on government payroll and divert their salaries for personal use. He cited the case in which a suspect allegedly placed the names of his wife, the son, and mother in law on the payroll while also collecting the salaries of 12 other workers. The ICPC chairman said the investigation covered at least 50 federal MDAs, with the Nigerian police force recording the highest number of suspected ghost workers at 570. Other affected institutions included the National Water Resources Authority with 80 ghost workers, the Federal Ministry of Works with 56, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with 24, and the Ministry of Defense with 19. For details of that news, see the Hope newspaper with the headline ICPC uncovers 908 ghost workers, recovers 942 million naira. Still on the pages of the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have Nigerians' population, 8 to 142.4 million, remains Africa's largest. Now the details. Nigeria retain its position as Africa's most populous country with an estimated population of 242.4 million in 2026, according to the latest population estimate by Worldometer, cited on Wednesday. The figure placed Nigerians ahead of Ethiopia and Egypt, which ranks second and third, respectively, among the continent's most populous nation. Africa remains the world's fastest growing continent, with its population projected to exceed 2.5 billion by 2050, driven by its youthful population, high fertility rate, and improvements in healthcare. Nigerians' population estimate is based Nigerians' population estimate is based on projections as the country's last official census was conducted in 2006, when the population stood at 104.4 million. According to the World Bank, Nigeria's population growth rate was estimated at 2.1% in 2025, contributing to its continued demographic expansion. The top most populous countries in Africa in 2026 are Nigeria, 242.4 million people, Ethiopia, 138.9 million people, Egypt, 120.1 million people, Democratic Republic of Congo, 116.5 million people, Tanzania, 72.6 million people, South Africa, 65.5 million people, Kenya, 58.6 million people. For more details on data news, see the Hope newspaper with this headline. Nigerians' population hit 242.4 million, remains Africa's largest. Away from the Hope newspaper, now to the pages of the Punch newspaper, where we have Ignore fake recruitment update. Custom tells Nigerians. Now the details. The Nigerian Customs Service has warned Nigerians to disregard a fake recruitment update circulating on social media, saying it did not originate from the service. The NCS urged members of the public to rely only on information released through its official communication channel for authentic update on its activities, including recruitment. Recruitment scam has become one of the recurring challenges in Nigeria, with fraudsters often exploiting public interest in government jobs by circulating fake advertisements and soliciting money from unsuspected applicants. Security agencies and government institutions have repeatedly warned Nigerians against engaging with unofficial recruitment notice. In a statement issued on Thursday, the service said the recruitment update currently being shared on some social media platform was false. The service advised Nigerians to verify information through the official platform before sharing or acting on it. The service listed its verified social media platforms as Facebook, Nigerian Customs Service, and its official Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, uh, and TikTok handle is at CustomNG. For more details of that news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Ignore fake recruitment updates, Custom tells Nigerians. Still on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Ocean 2026. Oye Bamiji once against the voters' harassment. Now the details. The candidate of the All Progressive Congress in the 2026 Ocean State Governorship election, Bola Oye Bamiji, has assured residents that intimidation and harassment of voters would not be tolerated during the poll. Oyebamiji gave the assurance on Wednesday during his campaign tour of the Ivelodun Borikwe Odotin Federal Constituency, where he addressed party supporters in Ukuku and urged eligible voters to collect their permanent voters card during the ongoing distribution exercise. It dismissed reports suggesting that the election could be marred by violence and urged voters to participate without fear. On his plan, if elected, Oyebamiji promised an inclusive administration, saying his manifesto had been designed to address the need of all parts of the state and sector of the economy. For details of that news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Oyebamiji once against voters' harassment. Yes, still on the pages of the Punch newspaper, where we're taking this headline. Navy hands over rescued human trafficking victims to NAPTI. Now the details. The Nigerian Navy has reaffirmed its commitment to combating human trafficking and other transnational organized crimes with the handover of two rescued victims of human trafficking to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. The Navy said the victims were rescued during a targeted anti-human trafficking operation before being transferred to NAPTI's Lagos Zones Command in Ikeja for rehabilitation, protection, and further investigation. The human trafficking remains one of Nigeria's major security and human rights challenges, with security agencies and NAPTIF intensifying joint effort to dismantle trafficking syndicates operating within and across the country's border. The Nigerian Army has increasingly expanded the maritime security operation to include the interception of human trafficking network operating along coastal communities and waterways. According to the statement released on Thursday today by the Director of Naval Information, Navy Captain Abiodun Folorenshaw, the handover was conducted by the Forward Operating Base by Badagry on July 19, following the rescue of the victim 2 days earlier. For details of the news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Navy hands over rescued human trafficking victims to NAPTI. Yes, still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Tinubu committed to ending insecurity. And that was coming from Akpabio. Now the details. Senate President Scott Will Akpabio on Wednesday assured Nigerians that President Bola Tinubu's administration was intensifying efforts to tackle insecurity, expressing confidence that the challenges would soon become a thing of the past. Akpabio gave the assurance while receiving members of the Ladies Golf Association of Nigeria, led by its national president, Dr. Lamin Ahmed, during a courtesy visit to the National Assembly in Abuja. The Senate President's remarks were contained in a statement issued by Special Assistant on Media, Jackson Udom. Nigerian has continued to grapple with widespread insecurity, including terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and communal violence, while with several states recording deadly attacks and mass abduction in recent months. The federal government has repeatedly pledged to restore security through the intensified military operation and other intervention. Speaking during the visit, Akpabio said the recent rescue of abducted school children in Oyo State demonstrated the federal government's commitment to addressing the security situation. Akpabio also spoke on women's participation in politics, attributing the reluctance of women to support one another during election to the conduct of some female office holder in the past. He said the actions of some women who had previously held public offices had negatively affected opportunities for others seeking elective position. For more details of that news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Tinubu committed to ending insecurity, and that was coming from Akpabio. Yes, still on the pages of the Punch newspaper, where we have Why I Won't Criticize Tinubu on Television, and that was coming from Fashola. Now the details. Former Lagos State Governor and Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, says he prefers to advise President Bola Tinubu privately rather than criticizing his administration on television. Fashola disclosed this during an interview on TVC News on Wednesday, where he was asked why he avoided commenting publicly on the president's performance. Fashola said the president reached out to him directly, seeking his input on areas requiring improvement ahead of the 2027 election. He explained that he has chosen to preserve the private channel of communication rather than air his view on air. The former minister said he has he had direct access to the president and had already advised him on few issues. He added that keeping the line of communication open was more important than public commentary. The interviewer had noted that Fashola's stance had remained unchanged despite expectations that his exit from active politics would make him more open to public commentary on the government. Fashola also ruled out a presidential bid, insisting he was content with his role at home. Asked if he would contest for president, he simply said no. For details of the news, see the Punch newspaper this morning with this headline: Why I Won't Criticize Tinubu on Television, and that was coming from Fashola. Yes, still taking headlines, and we have this one from Daily Post this morning, where it says that Boko Haram has a mega sponsorship from within and outside Nigeria, and that's coming from ex-army chief. Now the details. From a sector commander of operations, Safe Haven, Major General Anthony Atolagbe, retired, says there is a mega sponsorship for Boko Haram from within and outside Nigeria. Atolagbe made the assertion on Wednesday, where he appeared as a guest in an interview on Arise Television prime time. He said that the Starlink he said the Starlink he said that the Starlink the bandits used for communication might not have been procured in Nigeria. He added that terrorism and banditry go beyond the Nigerian enclave, stressing that the need for collaboration to find a lasting solution. For details of that news, see the Daily Post newspaper with this headline. Boko Haram has a mega sponsorship from within and outside Nigeria, and that was coming from ex-military, ex-army chief. Still taking headlines, this one from Daily Post, where we have a mega exclusive, mega media executive urge to amplify PWD's voice during election. Now the details. Ahead of the August 15 governorship election in Ocean State, a media executive and other stakeholders have been urged to create platforms to amplify the voices of persons living with disability (DWD) on political participation and increase media content focusing on their rights and electoral privileges. The appeal was made during a reflection meeting on media inclusivity in Ocean State organized by the Center for Media and Society (CME CMESO), the International Press Center (IPC), TAF Africa, and the Nigerian Women Trust Fund (NWTF) in Oshobo on Wednesday. The gathering brought together the media as executive regulators and the leaders of the PWDs to discuss inclusive reporting. The living paper title, Understanding PWD's Inclusive Reporting on the Platform for Promoting the Image of and Issues Enhancing the Voice of Persons with Disability. The executive director of the International Press Center, Larry Arogundade, stressed the importance of inclusive journalism in strengthening democratic participation. It described an inclusive society as one that rises above difference in race, gender, class, generation, and geography, while ensuring equality of opportunity and enabling all citizens to participate in shaping decisions that govern social interaction. The executive director of the Center for Media and Society, Dr. Akinwulu, said the PWD opposes the same constitutional right as every other Nigerians and should enjoy equal access to information and political participation. For details of that news, see the Daily Post newspaper with this headline. Media executive urged, urged to amplify. Media executive urged to amplify PWD's voice during election. Yes, so glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. You can join us on our social media handles, iPower 1027 FM on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Yes, away from that and now to the Sun newspaper where we have Achimogo accuses EFCC of persecution over asset forfeiture. Now the details. A businesswoman and founder of the Ocean Gate Engineering Oil and Gas, Aisha Achimogo, has accused the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) of oppression, intimidation, character assassination, and unlawful despocation of her personal properties following a series of investigation and court order forfeiture. In a statement issued yesterday, Achimbugo alleged that the anti-graft agency had subjected her to sustained persecution, uh, resulting in damage of her reputation, business interest, and investment. According to her, she said, and I quote, "My reputation has been unfairly questioned, my investment have suffered setback, and misleading information from the EFCC have caused significant harm to my business and personal life." The businesswoman further claimed that her life, her children, and her investment were now at risk because she was described as the agency's continued persecution. On July 16, High Court of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) Akpo granted the final forfeiture order in favor of the federal government over assets linked to Achimogo. The forfeiture assets included jewelries valued at approximately 4.65 billion naira, 11 luxury vehicle worth about 4.29 billion naira, as well as a $50,000 and a 30 million naira in cash. Earlier in March, the Federal High Court Abuja has ordered the final forfeiture of $13 million linked to Achimogo and Ocean Gate Engineering Oil and Gas Limited after the EFCC argued that the funds were proceeds of unlawful activities. Achimogo alleged that the EFCC acted maliciously by declaring her wanted despite allegedly knowing her whereabouts and maintaining correspondence with her. She claimed that shortly after declaration, about 30 EFCC operatives raided her apartment, confiscating jewelries, safes, and cash while allegedly subjecting members of her family to intimidation. For details of that news, see the Sun newspaper with this headline. Achimugu accuses EFCC of persecution over asset forfeiture. And now to business matters, where we have Zenith Bank named Africa's best bank and Nigeria's best bank at 2026 Euro Money Award. And that report is on the pages of the Sun newspaper this morning. Zenith Bank PLC has been named African's best bank and Nigerian's best bank, the latter and the second consecutive year at the prestigious Money Award for Excellence 2026, clinching the biggest and most coveted national and continental award in banking. The award was presented to the bank on Thursday, 16 July 2026. The dual recognition is a testament that to the bank's sustained excellence in financial performance, customer service, digital innovation, and its contribution to economic development across Nigeria and wider African continent. The Euro African Award and for Excellence also are among the most respected in the global financial industry, evaluating banks on crucial including strategy, profitability, risk management, digital transformation, and impact on stakeholders. Victory at the award is regarded as a mark of the highest distinction in global banking. This year's edition attracted a record of over 770 entries from world-class financial institutions, including HSBC, Morgan Stanley, Citibank, Standard Bank, and DBS Bank of Singapore. For details of the news, see the Sun newspaper with this headline. Zenith Bank named Africa's best bank and Nigerian's best bank at 2026 Euro Money Awards. Naira needs competition, not protection, and that report is coming from Cardoso and in the Sun newspaper this morning. Now the details. Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Olayemi Cardoso has stated that the Naira must remain market-driven and competitive rather than be artificially supported. This comes as the Monetary Policy Committee (PMC) of the Central Bank kept in kept interest rates unchanged and reaffirmed their commitment to bringing inflation into a single digits despite mounting geopolitical risk. Cardoso remarks came after the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has said last month that the naira remains significantly undervalued despite recent gains against the United States dollar across official and parallel foreign exchange markets. In its assessment of Nigeria's economy, the Washington-based lender said the naira is trading about 25.6% below its value based on the country's economic fundamentals, even after recording a notable recovery following sweeping foreign exchange reforms introduced by the federal government. Defending the CBN's exchange rate reforms, Cardoso, while filing questions from newsmen after the end of the PMC meeting in Abuja on Tuesday, said the Apex Bank remained committed to transparent, liquid foreign exchange markets driven by willing customers and willing sellers. Our view in one of the our view is one of continuing the path that we have embarked upon, and is to ensure that we have a market that is transparent, that is liquid, and one that has willing buyers and willing sellers. For details of that news, see the Sun newspaper with this headline. Nigeria Naira needs competition, not protection. And now to the world of sports, still on the Sun newspaper this morning, talking Nigerian Cup 2026 Championship to celebrate legacy and raising standard. Now the details. Preparation for the 29th edition of the Nigerian Cup, Nigerians' oldest running independent celebration golf championship scheduled to hold in Ikoyi Club 1938, Lagos from September 19 to 27, 2026 have been have entered full swing as it's set to celebrate legacies and standard. Organized by the Ikoyi Golfer Community Nigerians Association (IGCNA) in collaboration with the Ikoyi Club 1938. This year's championship will build on nearly 3 decades of rich tradition while setting a new benchmark for excellence in organization, competition, and stakeholders. Speaking on preparation, Olorun Olorogun Mohammed Oibo, chairman of the organizing committee, described the 2026 edition as a defining chapter in the championship history. He explained that organizing committee is working across competition, hospitality, sponsorship, media, branding, logistics, and participant service to deliver a seamless championship experience worthy of Nigerian's Cup League. While calling on corporate organizations, institutions, and private individuals to support the championship, Oyinbo said such sponsorship is an opportunity to become part of the legacy and extend well beyond the golf course. For details of the Sun News, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: 2026 Championship to celebrate legacy and raise standard. Yes, back to politics and political matters on the Sun newspaper this morning, where we have a budget paddling allegation exposed governance failure under Tinubu, and that is coming from Timmy Frank. Now the details. Former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Congress (APC), Timmy Frank, has said the allegations of budget padding are fictitious projects and questionable expenditure in the proposed 2026 federal budget expose what he described as a failure of governance under President Bola Tinubu's administration. Frank, in a statement issued on Wednesday, said the